Hi, welcome back everybody. I'm Mike Newton. In this particular video, we're going to take a look at the new Cleveland Launcher HB Turbo driver from Cleveland. Much cheaper price point in terms of the cost, £279. So much cheaper than more of your premium drivers, which are sort of way above 400, 450 to touching £500. So what's the difference? What's the pros and the cons between the high price point driver and a driver that you can pick up for £279 from a good manufacturer like Cleveland? It's a good name. What are the difference? What's the pros and cons? We're going to talk about that. We're going to test this particular driver. GC Quad on the floor as always. So we'll give you some numbers and some data and some feedback on this particular driver. Okay, so Cleveland Launcher HB Turbo driver. I've got a 9 degree driver in the loft setting here. I've got it in a stiff flex in the Miyazaki that comes as standard in this particular club. And we're going to talk about technology and what we're getting for our £279, which is obviously a much cheaper price point. And obviously first instincts here, we don't get any adjustability in the neck sleeve, so we don't have any options to move the loft around or try and make the club more upright or try and close it or open the club face. That we don't have. We don't have any movable weight in the head, so we can't try and put it into a drawer or a fade bias or pull weight back or put weight forward in the head. We don't have those options. But on top of that, we do have some technology in here with great word, this, you'll love this, so supercharged cup face technology. So thinner perimeter on the club face allows that flexing, more energy putting back through the golf ball, extra ball speed. Renowned for Cleveland, the high bore crown, so the inverted crown there, which is a lighter in that top section, so again saving weight, repositioning. 35 grams of weight shoved down low back in the club, so deep weighting as they're calling it, which again is helping to create bigger MOI and higher launch and more forgiveness. Ultra light hosel, so saving weight in the hosel, redistributing that. Again, it's all about trying to create speed and forgiveness. So there's plenty of tech in it. Miyazaki, good Japanese shaft manufacturer there, so that isn't cheap by any means. And look of it is pretty good. It's a matte black. You've got a little bit of sort of raised like fins in a way on the back section there, which look pretty cool. Instincts, as you put it down by the golf ball, it sits massively toed in, massively closed, which for me is a big no-no. So that is the problem now, is I can't change that. I haven't got the neck sleeve to dial that in and try and open that up and get it sitting how I would like to sit it. So for me, and from my experience, I think the better player, this driver is now out of the equation completely, because we can't have the adjustability, and I don't see many good players looking down at that and liking to see a very closed club face. So automatically then it's really pushing into more of that high handicap or mid-high handicapper who typically would slice the golf ball. Massively closed face is trying to reduce that. Okay, let's get one hit before we talk a little bit more about the club. As I say, sits very, very closed there. Okay, so that was a bit of a toey one up that left-hand side. Wasn't a great strike. And I'm just going to have to say that it is freezing down here today at Lytham, and I have literally got about 6 layers on. You can see the snoodies on. It's absolutely Baltic, so I can't imagine my club head speed is going to be the fastest. Just get those excuses in quickly. So first instincts there on that sound, it's loud. It's tinny, it's explosive. It's, again, for me, it is too loud. But for certain golfers, that wouldn't be an issue at all. Some guys aren't bothered what it sounds like. Not too worried what it looks like, possibly. Just more interested in getting that golf ball away. That's a better strike, and that's a decent flight. I mean, that is going forward. Again, that was a fraction toe. I bet that's pulling a bit of spin off there. So these aren't my longest, I say. I haven't got the greatest of speed today, 112 mile an hour. That's not my fastest by any means. But that's put at 2,600. It was a little bit toey, so that'll have pulled a bit of spin off that. But not a bad shape on that second one. Okay, that's a good flight. Little bit bottomy, fractionally, but it's flown very nice and neutral. Could be a line ball there. Now slightly to the left. Well, dropped off a little bit of distance, 271. So not the longest hit. Spinning up at 3,200, just with that slightly low strike, but nice and accurate. push that one out to the right, but I've struck that pretty well. Very easy to launch that, and again, probably like the name itself, you know, launch, it's a turbo, which are, again, super words they're using it. But that, you know, I think for the golfer, as I say, probably the better players there are really taken out of probably going to this driver. I think as soon as somebody puts that down, sees it massively shut like that, like myself, it's like, no, it's not for me. That I just don't like the way that sort of sits. So it's out of the equation straight away. But as I say, for the maybe mid-high handicapper who maybe struggle with that right miss, that's quite appealing. They might not be too worried about what the driver sort of looks like. Obviously, if it performs and reduces a certain bad shot they've got, happy days, you know, they're going to be sort of happy, aren't they? As I say, the sound of it, again, is very explosive, but again, possibly those guys who need a little bit of speed. Sound, sometimes when it sounds explosive, it feels like it goes a little bit further, doesn't it, just through the explosive sound and the cue sticks. That was a lovely hit. That was a good strike. Nice and neutral. Probably the best one, that. Again, not my fastest of clubhead speeds, 278 there, 112 mile an hour clubhead speed. Did spin up a little bit, 3.2. This shaft isn't really ideal for me. It's a little bit soft. But again, I think, you know, we're going to weigh up the price here, aren't we? £279 against something that's possibly £489, for instance, at the top of the range of other brands. Then, you know, you're thinking, well, it's down to the individual. Do I need that adjustability in the next sleeve? That's the first thing you've got to ask yourself, and this is probably where you're going to be going to a fitting session, hopefully. You know, and if you don't really need that help, then great, you know, you don't need that adjustability. Do you need those extra weights on the bottom? We know they're quite fine-tuning in what they do. They're not going to solve all your ball flight problems by moving weight into that draw setting. All of a sudden you lose your slice, you start drawing it. It doesn't always happen like that. It's very, very subtle on what it does. So you've got to maybe ask the question, do you actually need all that? And probably the biggest feedback I get from my pupils and clients in terms of fittings is it confuses me. All this neck settings, all this weight, it's too much. I can't cope with that. I mean, it's confusing. To be honest, if you go and get fit in that particular driver with more adjustability, then you'll get set in a certain setting. You shouldn't really be touching that. But obviously, as golfers, sometimes we tinker us out when we start adjusting. Obviously, you can't do that with this driver. So if you're the one who would tinker, or you can't cope with maybe all those different settings, and you just want something that's glued, simple, no moving weight, sits as it is. Yes, it sits closed. Yes, it's quite loud. It's a decent looking club. Then, you know, £279, it's great value, isn't it? Okay, that's not a bad one to finish on. A little bit heely, but that again has flown pretty neutral. Yeah, again, it's not the longest driver I've ever hit, but you know, it's not in 100% spec to me, so we'll give it a little bit of benefit of doubt on that sort of behalf there. But yeah, Cleveland, launcher, HB, turbo. But yeah, let's just have a quick look at the numbers and see how that's performing. Okay, so look at some numbers here. We're going to look at club first. As I say, my speed is massively down today. It's absolutely freezing. I'm laid up like an onion at the moment, so I'm not really going to be moving at my quicker. So you can see my club head speed at 111.9, just under around that 112 mile an hour mark. Generally, I'm up around that 115, 116 sort of area on my quicker days. So I am a little bit down the speed, but we know why, because it's cold. So ball speed is obviously going to be down a little bit, 156, generally getting to that 163 to 5, 165 sort of mark, so a little bit slow on the speed. So obviously that's going to make a big difference of that distance, isn't it? Launch angle around that sort of 10.8, spinning an average at 2840. First one, you can see that toe strike. Again, the importance of strike, I always sort of mention this in my videos. 1500 toe strike, you know, and then I've got one where I catch it a little bit slightly heely, bottomy, which was that last one actually, 3,500. So, you know, it's more than double the spin, isn't it? Difference just purely through my strike. So always got to weigh that into the equation, but look at an average of those shots, 2840. Ideally, I would need to have that a lot lower in that spin for me personally to maximise my distance. But it's getting up there, you know. It's again, for the type of golf this is possibly aimed at. Maybe it's going to be a lot slower than probably me, so maybe need that little bit more spin. You know, need that little bit more launch, and you know, keeping that ball in the air because they haven't got the ball speed to keep it in the air. They need to get the launch and the spin to keep that ball in the air to then maximise their carry. So I was averaging at 257. Longest one getting out there at 264 and 263 there, and running out 284 and 287. Okay, so there we go. There's the Cleveland Launcher Turbo. So as I say, £279. I think is really good value for money, isn't it? It's a brand that you can trust. You know it's going to be some decent quality in there. The shafts aren't cheap. You know, decent quality shaft. We've got Lampkin grips there, so component-wise are in that high sort of end. We just don't have all those options in terms of neck sleeve, changing loft around, changing face angle around. We haven't got options, obviously, moving weights to try and alter or fine-tune that sort of flight and spin that you might obviously get in more of the premium drivers, but then you're going to pay more for those, aren't you, in that 400, 450, 489 pound sort of mark, and some brands even more than that. So it depends on your budget, what you're sort of wanting out of a driver. And I think, again, this is probably just more aimed at that sort of mid-high handicap who needs a little bit of help on launching the golf ball, needs a little bit of spin because they possibly haven't got the speed there. Keep that ball in there, and that will help them maximise that sort of distance for them. For the better player, like myself, quicker swing speed, it's probably not ideal, is it? I don't like the way that sits, so that driver's out of the equation to going in my bag straight away. And the fact that I can't have any adjustability to work that how I want it to sit, and for my particular shot shape, then you know again, it's not ideally suited for me, but it's probably not aimed at me. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts. 279 against possibly a 489 driver. Can you sacrifice all that adjustability? Or do you feel that adjustability is a really big positive there for you as an individual? Post your comments down below and let me know your thoughts as always, and I'll get back to as many of you as I possibly can. Appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a share around with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, get future notifications. Any videos on my channel, you'll be the very first ones to watch it, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.